Okay, so we have our code blocks application open now, and we want to look at the uh, walkthrough. We just want to understand these code blocks. Okay, but for us to be able to work around this code blocks application, we need to first create a new project. Okay, so how do you create a new project? You can simply easily see create new project icon here. So just click on the icon or the text, any of them, just click on it. And when you click on it, from the list that shows, make sure you choose console application and then you use the go button. From the list you see, make sure you select C++ and you go to next. So over here is very important. Yours is going to be blank, but mine has already has some path. So just choose the path or location you want your project to be stored. Just use the three dots, and then anywhere on your PC you can select any folder you want. So this is what I did. I went to document, and then I created a folder called CPP. Okay, so if you want to also do the same thing, just right click this side, go to new, can right click this side, you go to new, and then what, folder, then you name this folder CPP. So if you name it CPP, go to what, select folder. That means all the works you do will be stored in the CPP file. Okay, then when you finish, you give a title to your project. So for this particular one, let's call it intro. So that's the title of the project we are creating. From there, as for the project file name, you can leave it. It will automatically be set for you. As you set your title, that one will be set for you. So we go to next, and it says already I'm having a project with the name with the name intro ready. So you know what, let me simply change my path. Let me change it a bit to a different folder. Okay, all right, let me just choose the new folder I created, then next, finish. Okay, so now our project is ready. Okay, we have our project created now. But of course, with code blocks, whenever you finish creating a new project, this is always going to be the screen. You can see it's blank. We don't know where our files are and where our our project files are located. Let me say it like that. And to be able to see your project, quickly go to the view menu. You click on view menu. You can see we have manager. So when you click on the manager, it's going to show you your project. Okay, you can close it, but each time you use the manager option, it's going to show you your project. So this is the project we have. The title is intro. Okay, and this one has a set of tabs. We have the project tab, the files tab, the FS symbols, and others. Okay, so in case maybe you are not getting what we are having, make sure that the project tab is selected. When it's selected, you have access to this section. In case it is closed, always go to view and then what, manager. Now when the tab is available, when the project tab is selected and this sidebar is available, make sure you expand the sources folder. There's a file called main.cpp. This is the file we will use for writing our C++ code. So just double click on it, and then you have your file open. So this is our C++ code. Now I will say this: if you are new to C++, if you are starting from C++ straightforward, I'll recommend that you go to our programming methods playlist. Go and start from there. That is where we took our time to explain the concept of programming step by step, variables and all that. Okay, so that place should be a good start. over here I'm going to move a bit faster, because most of the things I'll talk about here I've already done that at the programming method section. Okay, so in case you see anything you don't understand, you can either give me a comment. You can also go back to the programming methods playlist to get some tutorials for quick revision over there. Okay, so this is our project structure. Each time you create a project, this is the structure you are going to get. You have your IO stream and then the using namespace. Okay, these ones, they never changes. They are always going to be there. And we have our cout hello world. So the cout hello world is the command to display something on the screen. That is how C++ is made. If you want to display anything on the screen, you just use the cout. Okay, and watch it carefully. Your cout will come here, then your arrows. This one we call it left shift. So the arrow will come, the content you want to display. When you finish the content, another arrow will follow, and then end L will also come. So this one will display something on the screen. Let's use the build and run. So the build and then run option is executed. You can see hello world is now on the screen. Hello world. Okay, so if I change this and then I make it how are you, if we use the build and run option, you can see now it's how are you that is displayed. Okay, how are you that is displayed. If we change it to hope you are doing good, we move here, we have some set of buttons. Now later on we'll look at these buttons and what they do, but for now always use the last one, build and run. You click on it, it's going to just launch our application, and you see we have hope you are doing good on the screen. So that is about the usefulness of the cout. We use it whenever we want to display something on the console screen. So it's like a monitor for us. Okay, it's like a monitor that will do a displaying for us. Monitor. Okay, that's the importance of this one. Now let me start from up down. Over here I think I've already finished explaining it. So we have #include IO stream. Now the IO stream you see here is a way of allowing our program to be able to display information and also take information from users, input and then output in stream. So we are allowing the input and then output functionality in our program. There's something we call libraries in C++. So the #include IO stream is a library. Okay, and that library contains some kind of pre-written codes that comes together when you install the code blocks. So we are importing the IO stream. So it's like import command to include that functionality in the project we are coming to build. That means without the IO stream here, there's no way we can do anything like this. Okay, it's not possible. So always, that's why when you create your new project, it comes as part of the structure, the IO stream. And then we have the using namespace std. Now the meaning of the std is standard. The meaning of the std standard. So without the std, this is how we would have done things. Std : anywhere you are doing input or output, this is the approach. We have to prefix the cout with std : and then the end L2 we have to prefix it with : So if you are displaying about 50 things, all those things you are displaying, the cout, individual cout, and then the end L will have the std : attached. Okay, now you do this, you go by this approach when you don't have the using namespace std up there. So I can run the program and there wouldn't be any issue. It works. Okay. But the moment you remove the std from there, you try to run the program again, it will not work. Okay. So we just put the using namespace std here, so that we don't need to prefix our code, the cout, the cin, and the others. We don't need to prefix them always with the std colon colon. Once this one is here, it's like global import. Throughout our project, we can easily use the cout without the need of prefixing the cout with the std colon colon. So run this and you can see everything is working now. Okay. So it's important to add the using namespace std up there. So just understand that these two things, they are like the setup. You always want to let them be there. You don't want to take it off. Okay, let it be there. And then we come to our main entry point to the application. This one, we call it the entry point to the application. It's a method. Okay, it's a method. And this method, or this function, is the one that the compiler execute whenever you run your program. The one the compiler execute when you run your program. And so with this particular one, you can see it has the begin and then the end. It has the begin and then the end. The starting of the curly bracket and then the ending of the curly bracket. So this is what we call the begin and then what? The end. Now with this particular one, your code are all expected to be within the body. Okay. The begin and then the end is what we call the scope, or the body of the int main. For now, it will not be possible for us to understand this very well. We have a section where we talk about functions. But like I said, if already you've gone through programming methods video, this should be familiar. It should be something you should understand. But all the same, if we move to functions, we'll talk about this very well so you understand it. For now, you are just starting, so you don't want to worry yourself about a lot of things here. Just go by what I'm teaching you. For the things I don't talk about, just leave them there. There's a section when we get to, we'll talk about them. So that's it. The int means see that always is supposed to be there. Then we have the hope you are doing good. So the hope you are doing good is simply the cout, the command to what? Display. And then the return 0. This one to know that it should always be there. For now, keep in mind your code are supposed to be, within the body of the int main, within the body. So I can come here and then I'll list some best languages. We have C++. Since we are doing C++, let me add it first. Other than that, C++ will be angry. We can't use the C++ code at the time. Give a different language as the best. So Python. Okay. So we have a couple of couts here. If we use the build and run, you see that all the information we have there is displayed. Okay. Now this is what I want you to take note. Always the code in the int main are supposed to be above the return 0 keyword. You don't want your code to come down. Now when you run the program, the execution will start from this side. It starts from top to bottom. It will read it line by line. So from here all the way to the bottom here. That is how the code will be what? Executed. Okay. Now the moment the execution or the compiler gets to the return 0 keyword, that is like a full stop. It will stop the execution from that side. Okay. And so for instance, let me just take the return 0 and then put it here. So right after the best languages, return 0 is used. If I build and run the application, you can see that the code will display Hope you are doing good, and then best languages. But then the C++, the Java, the Python, they are not part of the display. That's because when the compiler saw the return 0, it stopped the execution there. That is why it is advisable that always your code are supposed to be in the body, but above the int main, above the return 0 statement. If we put it at the very top, none of the code here will be executed. Okay, because this is what is going to see first. Realize nothing is displayed. So always make sure all the code you will write will be above the int main. Your code is above the int main, and then your return 0 is there. Please don't remove this one. If you remove this one, your code will not execute. So when you are getting an error in C++, these are the things you should be checking. First of all, make sure that the body, the begin and then the end is not removed. Make sure they are fixed, they are there. Your code in the int main, and then your return keyword being the last thing. And then one last thing before we wrap up, you try to also make sure that after each statement, after you are done with each statement, we add semicolon as our full stop. That is how programming is done. Whenever you are done with any line, you just terminate it with semicolon. If you remove the semicolon and then you run the program, it's going to give you an error. If you add it back and then you try to run the program, you can see now it's working. Okay, so that is it. And let's say we have an error like this. Sometimes you want the code editor to help you. You want a code editor to help you to know why an error took place. So if you want to do that, there's something here. You go to the view section and then you can see logs. You click on the logs. You are going to simply get some window down there. Okay, the logs is going to activate the logs screen. So this is the log screen, and if I read the message, it says expected semicolon before cout at the line number 9. So the error is happening at line number 9 and it's saying it's expecting semicolon. Okay, so line number 9 is expecting semicolon. We just put the semicolon there, and if we try to run that program now, the error is gone. Okay, so that's about the log screen. You can remove it if you want to, but in case you want to activate it back, just go to the view, you click on logs to have the log screen back again. Okay, so that is about the introduction to the code editor, code blocks. Now as we move on, we'll look at some other things like the buttons up here and then the meaning of these ones. Okay, so that is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye.